Hey, Michael Leckie here with a brief bonus Ask Me Anything. But we did have something happen in the United States this week, which was our current sitting president, Joe Biden, decided now not to run for re-election. He has endorsed his vice president, Kamala Harris. And so we've had some questions about that, and we thought, you know what? Let's take an opportunity to real quickly respond to some of those and look at it from the perspective of assuming leadership, which is what she's needing to do now. So here's one of the questions. What strategies can Kamala Harris employ to unite the diverse factions within the Democratic Party in a short time frame? Now, if you're listening to this, set aside your worries about it being Kamala Harris or a Democrat as opposed to Trump and Vance or any other, if you're a RFK fan, whatever it is. Set aside the people and let's think about this in the perspective of what do you do when you have to unite diverse factions within an organization? Because that can really happen. I have clients that come and have to unite very diverse factions in different parts of the business, different functions, different geographies. And also in some cases, you have people who are union and non-union employees who come from a different background or having different influence as well. So if the question is, how can you unite those diverse factions in a short time frame? It's a great question. And it's hard to do in a short time frame, especially because as the organization gets larger, you have so little time to spend with all of those people. And that's what people actually in an election, in a campaign face. They don't get to talk to, touch, and see and have conversations one-on-one with the vast majority of people that they need to have support what it is they're trying to do and back them as they go forward, in many cases to vote or an organization just to support them. So what are you going to do? Well, I think one of the first things you have to do is you have to recognize there are diverse factions. And I think you have to be comfortable talking about the fact that we don't all see it the same. You don't necessarily have to identify with one or only one, but you have to talk about the different factions there are and acknowledge we have those differences. Then I think you need to talk about what is it that you stand for? What is it that you want to accomplish and the outcomes you want to achieve? And how do those different entities all tie into that same goal? When you're looking at the idea of negotiating, and I think probably one of the best people out there doing this right now is Chris Voss talking about this. When you're looking at the idea of negotiating, the idea is not to get into your position and then be the strongest argument. The better idea is to engage people in solving the problems you need to solve. And so if I'm talking to diverse factions, I'm going to tell them who I am and what I stand for, but then I'm going to ask them, how do we solve the problems we have? What are the biggest problems we have? And those are going to be kind of the two differences between those diverse factions. They're going to have different priorities and or they're going to have different solutions. And it doesn't mean that all of those things in those diverse factions are mutually exclusive. In fact, they usually aren't. They just have a different emphasis or a different focus. So when you're talking to them, talk to them about what matters to them. When you're talking to everyone, talk to them about what really matters, what you stand for, what you're trying to accomplish, and about the things that are consistent or unite across those factions, because there are those things. You want to find different people from different places with different priorities to share something. And if they all share something with you, that's the initial place you're going to go to get the support you need, whether you're trying to get elected or you're just trying to lead an organization. Thank you for joining Career Ask Me Anything, this time with just Michael. Mark Bowden will be back with us in the very near future, but we wanted to touch on this really kind of topical thing happening just this week. Again, for Ask Me Anything for myself, or for more generally for myself and Mark, you can put your comments here in whatever medium you're watching this and ask questions here, or you can simply go to michaelleckie.com/ask and put your questions in the form there, and we'll be glad to take them in the future. Take care.